ecosystems can provide more than just a home for biodiversity. They provide people and their communities and their businesses with a number of benefits. Now, in 2001 to 2005, the United Nations actually conducted a massive study of the status and health of the world's ecosystems. They called this study the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment. What they found was actually quite disturbing. Over the past 50 years, the status and health in basically 15 of the 24 ecosystem services they surveyed had declined over the past 50 years. And projections were that the degradation of these ecosystem services would continue over the coming next 50 years. Many industries depend upon these ecosystem services, and as those ecosystem services decline, companies may face a number of business risks. For instance, there was a hydroelectric company in Costa Rica in the 1990s. Energía Global literally started losing its power in the 1990s. And what was happening was farmers upstream, where the company had one of its dams, farmers upstream were clearing trees to make way for animal grazing and agriculture. Well, as they cleared the trees, when the heavy rains would come, all the soil would wash off and run off into the river. And they would build up in the river and end up settling in the reservoir behind the dam. And as that occurred, the reservoir started to fill up with soil, with sediment, and therefore the output from the dam gradually declined. The erosion control services that the forest had been providing was being degraded, therefore having a material impact on the bottom line of this company. The company found it in its economic interest to pay upstream landowners to conserve existing forests and reforest those areas that had been deforested in the past, to bring back the tropical forest and thereby stop the erosion into the reservoir. But what we've seen is that most companies aren't quite yet prepared for responding to or even identifying the ecosystem service related risks and opportunities. So with that in mind, the World Resources Institute, in collaboration with the World Business Council for Sustainable Development and the Meridian Institute, developed the Corporate Ecosystem Services Review, or ESR for short. We believe that companies will increasingly be picking up and adopting the Ecosystem Services Review into not just their environmental management strategies, but their core business strategies. Because the world is changing, the climate is changing, the population is growing, so we still hurdle towards 9 billion people, and the ecosystems that are required to support not only people, but the world's myriad of companies are changing, often for the worse as well. And being prepared is more critical now than it's ever been before for the corporate sector.